Welcome. I am Mary Mazur, and this is Change Your Funk to Fun. So, welcome today. This is episode 13, and today we will be talking about all-encompassing abundance, spiritual and physical abundance here. And I will be inviting on my show a dear friend of mine, an amazing spiritual being here, Ginger Clark. So, Ginger Clark will be coming to join us right here. Hi, welcome, Ginger.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So let's dive in about abundance, about even especially we'll be talking about the lack of abundance that many of us have experienced in this lifetime so far. And being that we are in the Aquarian age now, the 21st century, we are really stepping into the time on this planet where we literally are igniting the abundance within ourselves and even and especially outside in our lives. So yes, we will be talking about encompassing this and actually navigating through, our own selves and what's happening in our lives so that we can experience true abundance in every aspect of our life. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So, first, how about we begin to share a little bit about ourselves so then people know who you are, who I am, and yeah, and then we'll go from there about diving in about abundance. Sound good?
Excellent.
Good. Okay. So I am Mary Mazur, and yes, I am an igniter here on this planet, which means I help ignite people's divinity within them, the love and light of who they really are. And I do that, yes, actually, in my sounds, in my words, in my presence with them, and then also with the gift of PSYCH-K. So we'll be talking quite a bit about PSYCH-K here. I am a certified PSYCH-K instructor. And I do offer private sessions for people using this very powerful and simple tool to rewrite their subconscious mind into more of a positive way, a more abundant way of living. And so I'm grateful to be here to share whatever's meant to come through us today to help many, to ignite them, to let them realize, heck, they're very important here. And it's time for them to start stepping into their greatness. So, yes. So would you love to share a little bit about you? I know you've done some really amazing things in your life, which I'm so excited to hear about. Again. Yeah.
Yes, so my name is Ginger Clark. I am currently in North Carolina. I also do a little bit of Psych-K. I recently went to a workshop with Mary. I'm not quite sure if I would describe myself as an igniter, but I definitely know I trigger people a little bit. I have triggered people in my life, my close relationships with my family and my friends. They either love it or they hate it. But it has pushed them to maybe add adventure in their life and travel. I'm also an avid traveler. I really love adventure and different cultures and meeting different people and just experiencing everything that our planet has to offer.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. I love it. I love it. Love it. Well, what's really amazing, because I know whenever you and I get together, whenever we talk, it's just so powerful what comes out, right? What comes through us and from us, within us, all of that. So that's what we want to bring in today, with the two of us getting together. Does that sound good?
Sounds fantastic. I love it. We do have a really great way of just allowing spirit to be present in our conversations and our meetings.
Yeah, yeah, isn't that great? Yay. And may we also offer that for others too, because as we continue to blossom and grow here, this is how we are meant to be. We're actually meant to anchor in our spiritual, divine, true essence aspect of ourselves, who we really are, into this human vessel, and then start bringing and experiencing with higher vibrations, with higher ways of being, higher wisdom and knowledge ways of being too, as a human being here. So yeah, we welcome that for anyone else listening, that they might start edging up, right, and opening up and realizing, right, how brilliant they are, how powerful they are, how magical they are, and creative, and that we all are here. We really are, right?
And to connect with the expansion within themselves. I think that's something that you have taught me so much about since we met, is connecting with my heart and with my spirit and just allowing that to expand, that energy to expand and to reach people. And the right people will start gravitating toward you as well. And then you just have this beautiful exchange that does welcome in abundance.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for that because that's actually how we're going to be able to present it here today is that typically when I think when people think of abundance, I know even for myself, my human part of me, is the physical part, right? The abundance. Like a lot of times we'll think of money, right? Because when people think of abundance, they think they have a lot of money. I think that's what comes in my mind as a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is still, and it is beautiful because money is an exchange of love. It actually is. It's actually just a currency. It literally is just paper, right? But we've given it a lot of power. We've given it a lot of opportunities, I guess, for us to be free when you can have money to exchange and to use, because then you can, like you say, go travel, go to wonderful places you'd love to go, right, and go create things, build things, things like that.
And
And
there's
and
also
yet, I would
so
love for us to talk
program
about.
also so much programming with money as well that we receive.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. And we are definitely going to be diving into that one because, yeah, heck yeah. And I know I certainly got it growing up within me. And I'm sure most people did. Totally. Totally. Right. Yeah. So we're offering like the highest level of what money is if people are willing to be open to that and then exactly see how they feel within themselves about, how do you feel about money? That's actually a really great question to begin with. Because what your thoughts are, what your beliefs are about money is going to be reflective to you in your life, and it'll show you what you feel, what you believe. Are you easy to receive money easily? Are you easy to give money easily? Some people might think, oh no, I have to just hold on to it, or I have to be so overly watchful that they actually don't even enjoy their lives. They're actually just working, working, working all the time and just stashing the money, for a rainy day, because people call it. That's
Yes.
more of the survival consciousness. It's the first level of consciousness here is our reproductive survival consciousness, and that's okay. It's just at the level of consciousness. It's a very contracted energy consciousness, and the gift is we are being called to expand, like you said, to wake up and to see, view things in new ways. And yeah, and then we can move into more pain or suffering or struggle. Things are hard experiences. I think that's where a lot of people are still in right now, with probably a little bit of the survival pieces. I know I sure was before I started using Psyche. Absolutely. And yeah, my dad thought that people that had money were bad people or something. I mean, I got really strange programs that had in me, and I don't even know why he thought that. Like, it was just weird. Like, he didn't want my mom to work. We only could live on one income with 12 kids, which was really stressful. So I know I was raised seeing my dad with like all these bills and all the stress, trying to figure out how he's going to do this. And so it imprinted on me, within me, that, oh, like life is just hard, or there just isn't enough, or, you just have to, you work really hard, which is nice to do, but it's to the point though that you actually lose your life over it, or he's drinking a lot. So people will cope in other ways. So the gift here, what we're going to be talking about is how can we change these programs. That's a big one. We'll be talking about that with Psyche. And the key is actually, I'm having the courage and willingness to want to, because that's everything. Once you can recognize and start questioning things and say, hey, like, why do I believe these things? Or what is this all about, right? Because I love now that I have in my lifetime been exposed to very wealthy people, and I know you certainly have too, right?
Absolutely.
That and they're beautiful people, they're kind people, and they created amazingly. They actually did really flippin' amazing stuff to create something. So it's really nice when you can see the really good and positive. And then if you are vibrating in a high energy field of love, of flowing, that money can just be another beautiful way to reach more people, to have even really great adventures, great expansions, right? So we want to definitely throw that out there. But yeah, would you like to share a little bit about your experiences, I guess, with wealthy people? Maybe you can help others to say, hey, it's okay to have wealth. Like, yeah, as long as you're not going to try and control the world, or, rule the world. That's a little weird. That's right. That's gone too far. Yeah.
But that's also part of the programming, right? That maybe we received from media, whether it was television or movies. I, like you, grew up in very limited money, very humble beginnings. And then after college, I went I walked into a fine dining restaurant and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I don't know what this is, but this abundance, again, is just fantastic. I loved the richness of the environment. So I got a job there, and then that segued into working on yachts and getting to have those kind of experiences. And I got to just sit with all of this wealth and all of this richness of the 1% of people. And here's the thing that I learned, Mary, is that what wealth does is it kind of places a microscope over things, so it intensifies things, much like fame. And otherwise, besides having an accumulation of things, there really isn't that much difference, because wealthy people are just wealthy people, right? In a money form. Um, and they can have lots and lots and lots of things, but they still also experience trying to find passion, trying to find their purpose, trying to align with their soul. What are they doing on this planet? What do they want in their life? They still experience heartbreak, pain. You know, money doesn't save us from this human experience or our spiritual experience either.
Very true. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Right. Right. And we actually all can go through challenges. Definitely. Even people that are very wealthy or have a lot of money too. Right. Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
when it is that emotional part, that mental part, or if we, because they too can feel like maybe they don't belong, or there's something even wrong with them, or they're not perfect. Right. Or the issues that many of us go through where, we're striving to be better, striving to, find love, right? Or find those connections. Yeah. That many of us will do. And then, right. And like you had said, many people will even reach thinking, well, money's going to be the way. That's just going to how that's going to be. Right. So fascinating. And the gift like we want to offer here is that money can be a great thing. Absolutely. Definitely. It gives you a lot of freedoms. Just trust and know that the true abundance that we're really going to be stepping into is your spiritual abundance, which means your full 100% connection with your divine aspect of you. The love of who we are is
Yes.
infinite. It's infinite. It's so infinite. And actually, that love is everything. That love is the power of who we are. That is the true abundance. And when that can come in and you begin to cultivate within yourself the peace, the joy, the resonating in just that connection to all things like that, and know that you are always cared for, always carried, held, loved, adored, governed, guided. When you actually have that connection and that knowingness, things do become easier here. And if you would love to dream, we'll be definitely talking about dreams a little bit. I want to definitely dive deeply into that. But the dreams are the gateway, because that's your desires, that's your heart's desires. And a gift would be, we just offers that, yes, it may be an intention for some people to make a lot of money. That's super awesome. That's great. Awesome. But the better question to ask, why? Why do you want to create money? What is it going to bring you? And I'm sure you probably had that even with the people that worked for or were around and experienced, huh?
Well, right. And the thing to think about is the reason most people want money is so that they can have things. And then the question to ask is, why do you want that thing? Because how is it going to make you feel? Because what we're really after is the feeling those things we think are going to give us. Right? So there's
Yeah.
some void of feeling there. There's some way that we want to feel, and we think, ooh, if I had that car, that amazing, incredible sports car, I am going to be so cool. I'm going to, drive down the road with the wind in my hair, just feeling absolutely amazing. But that's the thing, right? Feeling absolutely amazing. That is what is attached to those things.
Thank you.
And
I'm gonna
the
hold you right there.
only thing we're trying to connect with.
Hey Ginger, we're gonna hold you there because we have to take a short break, and we're gonna
Okay.
come right back to that because that is perfect. It's exactly what we're gonna be diving into is our emotions and our feelings. So thank you. Today we're talking about encompassing abundance, spiritually and physically here. as a spiritual being and as a physical being. I have my guest here, Ginger Clark. Thank you for coming and being a part of us here, Ginger. We were just talking about, the key piece of why do people want to be wealthy? Why do they want to have a lot of money? And you brought in that huge piece of diving into is that feeling of what that feeling is going to bring them. So yes, would you love to dive into that a little bit more? Whew.
Absolutely. So, what I was saying is, we're really just after that feeling. What is that relationship? What is that car? What is that house sitting on the beach? How is it going to make us feel? Because ultimately, that is what we want. And the amazing, fabulous news is we can create that for ourselves within ourselves.
Exactly. And that's the whole gift of this Oz. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Heck yeah. I know, right? And what a journey. What a journey when we can wake up to that realization that wow. And then this is the gift of even just playing with or we can say playing, we can say um allowing time for ourselves to really open up that time for ourselves, slow down a bit. Because I think a lot of us get so busy. I know I used to be super busy. I was a way crazy busy lady all the time. And I was always around people. I was always caring for people. I was always right. And I love people. And I thought that's how you're supposed to be. I recently have just completely shifted my life where I live on my own now and in the woods, with nature. And it has given me such a gift like of that, of finding out how do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What brings me the most joy? And actually this morning I was sitting just in the front of my cabin with the trees, looking up with the sun beaming into my eyes. And it literally is, it just came through that I'm like, this is what I want to feel is love, my pure love, the love of me. And so I asked myself, who am I? Who am I? What am I? And I just let myself open up to experience who I am and what I am. And my whole body just started vibrating. It was magical beyond measure. I literally could feel the love of the universe, the love of the oneness, the love of connection of all, and knowing that that's me. I am this love. I am the sun ray of the sun. I am the oneness of it all. We are the I am presence here. This is the creme de la creme of it all. And the joke is, the funny part is I've moved into simplicity. I have a tiny little cabin in the woods now where I don't want anything anymore. I don't need anything. It's like hilarious. Like, then I don't even have a relationship right now as far as like an intimate relationship, which is really amazing because that was my most important piece that defined me in my life. Totally. I was married 31 years and I had a wonderful husband. I really did. 4 beautiful children, which I definitely love and very closely connected with them too. But now my spirit moved me to experience time for me. It just did. I had to. I outgrew my husband in ways that he didn't want to come with me with where I was going. So he can be perfectly where he is, which is great. And I get to be where I am. And so in this time right now, it has been, and I feel like a new baby. I feel brand new again, which is flipping amazing. And I feel completely abundant, which is really amazing. Like, wow. And yes, I have cultivated ways that money does come easy with me. PSYCH-K has helped me tremendously with that, like amazingly. In fact, January, we actually had low funds, like because we were still together as a couple there. And that's the thing is my ex definitely is more of that restricted energy of money, or that's just where he is about worrying about money. Where I'm done with that. I trust that money comes, the gifts I share and what I give out, that it comes abundantly tenfold back to me, and then I share again because I love the giving and receiving of money and the expressions, and then having whatever's valuable to me, whatever is meaningful for me, that's here, and everything else I can just let go. So yeah, let go of the house, let go of all the stuff. I do have one car, which is nice, to get me around, but it's an older car. And I thank that baby. I mean, she's gonna take me a long places. That car's gonna last forever, right? But it's just so fun. I can fit everything in a little cabin. And I realize, and it is, and it's just finding and connecting that love within me so that when I am ready for a relationship, or if I do ever want to buy a home again, I definitely want to buy land and build things on that. But it's going to come from my place of my wholeness, my abundance of my love. That is where it needs to come. And you've been a huge inspiration for me because I know you've been you've chosen a life of being single up until this point, which might change for you. Like you might end up going into a relationship, which is really funny.
Yeah, we're totally opposites in that way, aren't we? So I have pretty much always lived somewhat of a simple life. I chose to start traveling right after college. And when you're living on a boat in something the size of like a tiny little walk in closet, you don't have room for a lot of things. So I have actually never owned a home. I've always rented the space that I was in. I have very little things, and I guess from the time I was young, my spirit just sort of told me that that was a lot to carry around, and I just found it a lot. And still to this day, I'm some pretty good about packing and a light packer, and I do not like toting things everywhere. I don't like having 16 suitcases and stuff like that. So I live a simple life, and sometimes I think, oh wow, I would love to have, list of items. But then when I am stressed or I'm feeling some sort of, anxiousness, anxiety, whatever coming up when I'm sitting in traffic on a freeway and there's tons and tons of cars, you know, I always go to a place of I just want to simplify. I want things to be simple. I truly do. And I also want to circle back to you talking about your morning, Mary, because that was something I wanted to bring up. When I think about abundance, I think about nature. Nature is just so full of so many gifts for us to experience. So, two things that you spoke about were presence, being present within yourself, and also being present with nature. And that is where you connect with your oneness, with universe, with your I am presence, and you're just embraced. And nature is such a great example to show us tons of abundance with all the various flowers, right? There isn't just one flower. There's so many flowers for us to that are just here for our enjoyment, for us to just sit with. And then as the seasons change and what comes with what seasons and the variations and the change that is offered to us, I think for me, spring is like that time of abundance. Every day can be a new day with what is bloom today, what is green, all of the various grasses, and just it's amazing what a gift that we have in nature.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And then, so we'll bring in PSYCH-K a bit with what is PSYCH-K and then the principles of nature, because you brought in about nature, which is great. So with PSYCH-K, and we'll be talking near the end of the show about how you can go to one of my workshops to learn PSYCH-K, right? Because what PSYCH-K is a precious way for you to connect and to be able to live by the principles of nature. How does Mother Earth live in her abundance, so that you, being a child of Mother Earth, also are able to naturally and easily live in abundance with her principles of nature, right? Isn't that beautiful?
So
Yeah, yeah. And we dive in and we help people work at the subconscious level of the mind, because if there's any resistance or blocks from being able to do that, you get to clear those blocks so that you can vibrate and become one with the principles of nature. So one of hers is more is not always better, which is kind of like what you already have been living with, living in your simplicity or living what you have. You have more than enough than what you need. Exactly. And it's a gift. And that's huge, because that's actually a big point that you have been able to, even with, I'm sure life has been up and downs that many of us have had, yet you trust. When there's that level of trust that you'll always know you'll have enough, you're always going to be okay, things are going to go well, receiving supports, receiving whatever it is you need will come your way. And I think once we do that, then we don't need to be like what some people might be, hoarders, or they might just overstock stuff just because of the scarcity mentality, because they be afraid that they're not going to have enough, right? So I think that's huge. So more is not always better. It's just a philosophy, knowing that when you can start recognizing how much we actually do have, that's the funny part, because a lot of us may not even think we have very much, but we have so much. We have so much. It's actually ridiculous in a way. The ease and the comforts, because we have so much ease and comforts in this lifetime, thank goodness, compared to other generations that have had to work really hard or really, whatever. And there are other people in other parts of the world, right? There's women in Africa that still walk 20 miles to get water every day for their family. And that's what they do every day of their life. So at least we'll say in America, we have abundance, beyond abundance, in many, many ways. And I get it that there are people that are struggling right now. I have a girlfriend actually that's struggling just went through a divorce, and she's struggling really, really tough. A lot of it is her personal work. When she can do her personal work within her, the things in her outside life are going to shift. And because many of us have been programmed that we have to have a job, we have to work for somebody, we have to have insurance, we have to have this, we have to have that. But do you really? I mean, do you really? How about we live in a way where we can actually be really healthy, living with Mother Earth, Mother Nature, doing proactive, healthy choices? That is just, how about our health just becomes more natural now? Where we can actually, break free from any fears of even that. So we become healthy in our abundance in our health, which is super huge, right? And then letting us have that bit of entrepreneur spirit. And it's okay to work for somebody. Absolutely. There's a time and place for everything. I was a nurse
Yes.
for 26 years and it worked really well. I just got, I got the inkling that I just like to have my freedoms. I like to do what I like to do on my time and my stuff. And I think you're starting to get a little bit of that too.
Absolutely.
And I think many of us are, and that's okay. That's just part of the abundance journey. When we start recognizing that freedoms, the abundance of freedoms, the abundance of having the choices that you get to make, not someone else telling you like what time you have to show up to work or what you have to do, those kinds of things. So I think all of these pieces, whatever we have going on in our lives, is here for us, for us to make the choices, for us to question it. Is that how you want to live? Is that how you want to be? And if you don't, then begin making these changes. And that's where PSYCH-K can come in. I know you're using it for yourself right now. I use it every day for myself. Yeah.
Yes, PSYCH-K has been a wonderful gift. I would definitely qualify myself as an overthinker. I have a very active mind that carries on going. And PSYCH-K has just offered me such a gift of presence and altering those limiting beliefs that I had. And I think a huge thing is becoming aware of starting with our programming. For example, my grandmother grew up in the Depression and during things like that. And I remember going to her house and there were those country crock tubs with all the leftovers and food in there. And they saved everything. There were just plastic containers for days. Um, Both of my parents also held on to everything, and maybe that's where I was different. I just did not like the clutter, and I just wanted it out. And all of my family, when I would go visit them, there was just so much stuff, just things they would not let go of that they could have let go of, right? And so there's that programming going on there, that scarcity mindset that you mentioned. And as we are moving on this earth, we're moving into such a greater awareness of what we do have and being in presence and how simple life can be, and focusing on the importance of those seemingly little things, right? And that we have an abundance of those. And we don't need just a ton of stuff for no reason. That doesn't resonate with us, just to say that we have it. That the stuff that you own, right, ends up owning you.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. We're going to take another short break. we will dive in even deeper with that because I think you're hitting it on a head, I'm sure, for a lot of people listening. So thank you so much. And we welcome here Ginger Clark, who's also sharing her beautiful ideas and insight in regards to abundance and living here abundantly. Yes, we are encompassing abundance here, both spiritually and physically. So yeah. So Ginger, yes, you were sharing more about even with your own family that they would just hold stuff or carry on to stuff, not let go of things, not letting things go, keep having them just in case they needed them, right? Or or just feeling. I think a lot of it, we can feel a lot of security. I know even for myself. When I got married and was raising my kids, I would always overstuff my refrigerator and my cabinet. So I was a little bit of a food hoarder. It was really interesting. I mean, I didn't even realize it. And there'd be times we'd have to throw out the frozen food because we wouldn't even eat it. And then I would just go buy more food and go buy more. And then with using the gift of PSYCH-K, I started, looking at like my habits and what I'm doing and how would I rather be. And I'd rather, right, just know and trust I always have enough and just buy what I need, and then we use it and then just go buy whatever else I need. And it came back to memories when I was a little child because I would open up the cupboard and there really wouldn't be much food there. My mom with raising 12 kids, she fed us every day, which was amazing, but it was just enough, and we had like even toilet paper. My mom was a budgeter because she wanted to live as best she could in our finances. So
Absolutely.
even with toilet paper, she showed us as a little girl. I got 2 squares of the toilet paper, so that's what I used was 2 squares. That was it. Oh heck
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
wow.
So when I had my kids, I told them that story because that's what I was raised with, the 2 squares. Then because my mom wasn't going to be buying a whole bunch of toilet paper for all these kids, right? So we only need 2. And we did it. We followed what she said, which is really funny. So, and actually when I got married, I told my husband, I said, there's 2 things I want: soft bread and soft toilet paper. Because we got
That
the
was
day old
it.
bread. That was it. Those are the 2 things I wanted: soft toilet paper and soft bread. Because I had day old bread. My mom, we'd go to the day old bread store and just get the old that was hard on the edges and stuff. And then she'd always obviously put it in the refrigerator to last forever. So we never had soft bread, ever. Never. No. And even if there's mold, you just pick off the mold and you still ate it. And then the toilet paper, it was the cheapest, like thin sheet you could. And we only
One
got 2 of
ply.
them, which is good. Yeah, one ply, and then just 2 sheets. So yeah, pretty nutty, huh? And then so I told my kids that. So then they got 3. So I showed them when they were little girls. They could have 3 squares. They get 1 more than what I had growing up. But oh my goodness. But it's nice now living in my little cabin where I have plenty of space in my refrigerator and even plenty of space even in my little cupboard. I just have a tiny little cupboard too. So it's like, and it feels, and then I check in with how I'm feeling, like exactly what you talked about earlier. How am I feeling? I feel good. I feel like
Yeah.
I know that I have enough. I always have enough. I'll always be provided for. I'm always going to be cared for, just by energetically universal love energy. And this is what I run on now, which is really, really pretty amazing.
And so before you ran from a space of lack, before your journey with PSYCH-K, you were operating from a space of lack and not enoughness, and you needed more. And also, you had mentioned before just that not enough time, even. So it was not enough resources, not enough time, not enough things.
Right, right. And it's probably why I was so busy just to make sure I had fun. Like even if it was this, I probably had a fear of just, being bored or not being loved or not making a difference kind of stuff. So I would overdo stuff, overcommit myself. It's really fat, but a lot of it was because of the lack within me. I didn't feel that I was good enough, or that I even felt something was wrong with me. So I felt like there was like a flaw. How I was raised religiously, I think, brought a lot of that on, and so those pieces, then I would start overdoing things, and then exhaust myself, get super stressed out, and then have I had like more stress related health conditions, things like that. So yeah, and this is the stuff that we'll create, and we don't even realize we're creating it. And it's only because of our heart is needing so much and wanting the yearning of our own love, time for our own self, time to remember again, just to wake up and remember again that we are enough. We're perfectly designed exactly as we are, and that we can always have enough, and then that we are going to be providing and sharing our gifts. It doesn't mean we're going to sit on the couch and just do nothing, all the time. There's universal laws, right? Cause and effect. Whatever you sow, you reap. So whatever you give out, you will, receive in return. Just making sure that we do it out of, it's really great when you can do it from the flow energy or from your love, from your heart's desires to bring in, to create even more amazingness here instead of from the lack. And it's okay if you do it from the lack or the fears, because I certainly did do it. It's just going to create more of that in your life until you're ready to say, enough, I'm done with that. And that's the gift of frustration and anger. It helps you wake up. It helps you have a gateway up into your passion, up into your heart's desires. Yeah.
Right. So you just walk into that suffering when you're operating from that space of lack, correct? And then it's, suffering's optional, right?
Exactly. That's right. And that's the thing. When once people can recognize that, some people don't even believe that right now, though. They think that's all there is. They think that it's just going to be hard. It's just how it is. They've almost given up. That's a lot when people have just given up on themselves, or given up on parts or aspects of themselves. And this is the gift. It's okay if you even do that, because that's just the experience you're choosing to have. Okay, so you're having the experience that you're giving up on yourself. Okay. My sister did that. She was 10 years older than me, and she took her life. She committed suicide. She jumped off a bridge when she was 27. And she gave, and I was 17 at the time. I was just graduating from high school at that time. And she taught me a lot. She did teach. And I know from that one, I just put on myself that I'm never going to give up. I always can turn things around. Nothing can ever be that bad that you just end your life. Because, okay, so how'd that go for her now? You know what I mean? All right, so now your life is done. So now what?
Yes,
you know?
because your soul still exists, and
Exactly.
depending
She's
upon
back,
what you
right?
believe, what is she going to have to learn in her next journey?
Exactly, because you don't escape. You have to. She still has to go through that, and then she will. And but that's the gift of infinity, right? Is that and her spirit says she's here again, which is really sweet. And I know, and and that she will. Have that opportunity again, and hopefully in this lifetime, she'll go and find out more about her, discover who she is, and what matters to her, and her love, right, and her value, her worth, and then let that start cascading her.
So the through line here is it is about relationship with self and the divine, because we keep coming back to that, right? We keep coming back to being in alignment with your soul, with your heart center, with yourself. And ultimately, that's where it's all created. Your relationship with yourself, which is to say, your relationship with the divine, whatever you may call that, God, spirit, source, universe, all different names, same.
Exactly. And what I would love to offer is that when we do that, make sure you invite yourself to go into your heart center, because many of us will do that, but we'll still be in our minds. We'll still be thinking about it. We'll still be in the philosophy of it or the idea of it, in its thoughts. And that's okay. That's the more of the masculine part of us. Is that what a relationship is oneness. A relationship is you allowing yourself to feel that oneness. Your energy in motion is your feelings. It's your emotions. It is energy in motions. So how does that